This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Monday, the 15th day of July in the year 2019. Here's what we're tracking tonight. Acting on the advice of the police legal advisor, 5 men were today charged and remanded to prison for the murder of Better Hope money changer Aaron Latchman and his daughter Ariana. The two were gunned down in front of their home on July 4. Appearing in court today to face the murder charges were 46-year-old Sion Thomas, 37-year-old Lloyd Sadolu, 34-year-old Paul Chan, 44-year-old Troy Abrams, and 26-year-old Mark Rufino. The 5 were not required to enter a plea to the indictable murder charges. During the appearance at the Sparendam Magistrates Court, 3 of the 5 accused kept their faces covered as they made their way in and out of the courtroom. The magistrate remanded them to jail until August 12th, when the matter will continue. Family members of the murdered father and daughter were also at the courthouse observing the hearing and the appearance by the alleged killers.
So far the investigation is good, but I hope to get justice.
We want justice.
I hope they're not going to go back on the road free out there for next family feel like how I'm feeling.
By chance you know anyone else, right?
No, I don't know them. I wasn't there today. But looking at them, I could just imagine what my husband and daughter went through with them.
Investigators arrested the 5 men during a wide-scale operation last week in a number of villages along the east coast of the Demerara and in the city. It was reported that some of the men had admitted to being involved in the double murder but claimed that they had been hired to carry out the hit. The money changer and his daughter were laid to rest late last week. More news coming up in just a moment.
What would you do with 20 gigs of data? Get double the data this summer with GTT. On your first activation of a 7-day data plan or more, you get double the data. Yup, double the data. Activate and enjoy. Opt into a Do More plan this summer and receive double the data. Get a chance to win daily cash prizes and much more, plus a chance to win the grand prize of $100,000 in cash. Only with GTT, there's so much more data to love. Do more this summer.
Summer is just around the corner, and this year we're giving you a Visacation. It's easy. Get your GBTI Visa card and travel to your dream summer destinations or shop all you want online. With Visacation, you get to win prizes when you use your GBTI Visa card between June 1st and August 31st. Don't have a Visa card? Visit your nearest GBTI branch or go to www.gbtibank.com. GBTI, we see Guyana through your eyes.
Motor gasoline grades are determined by the octane rating of the fuel. The octane rating of a fuel is the standard measure of the performance of a motor gasoline. Guyoil's Super 95 gasoline is a high-octane premium gasoline. Fuel up and drive with Super 95 from Guyoil.
Fuel it up and drive!
Welcome back. Diplomats from the American, British, and European missions in Guyana are urging Guyana's leaders to abide by the ruling of the Caribbean Court of Justice in the no-confidence and GCOM chairman cases and the relevant provisions of the Constitution. In the 2-line joint statement issued this morning, the ABE diplomats said the Caribbean Court of Justice, Guyana's Supreme Court, has spoken, and it is important for the rule of law that all invoked actors abide by its ruling and the relevant provisions of the Constitution. They urge everyone to do so expeditiously. The statement comes 3 days after the Caribbean Court of Justice handed down its consequential orders in the cases that went before it. The CCJ has validated the passage of the no-confidence motion and has indicated that the constitutional provisions on the passage of such a motion have kicked in. On the passage of a motion of no confidence, the Constitution caters for elections to be called within 3 months or at a time agreed to by 2/3 of the National Assembly. The opposition leader Barrett Jagdeo has already indicated that he does not intend to lend any support to the government to obtain a two-thirds majority for an extension of the period before elections. The Guyana Elections Commission had indicated to the court that with a fast-tracked house-to-house registration process, it would be in a position to be ready for elections by December 25. The CCJ has indicated that GCOM should have been making necessary preparations for early elections on the passage of the motion. The government has said that credible elections must be delivered, and therefore there will be a need for a clean voters list. On the meeting between the president and the opposition leader to choose a GCOM chairman, both the president and the opposition leader have indicated their readiness to get the consultation process completed quickly.
Credible elections are essential to representative democracy. The credibility of the elections is dependent in part on the integrity of the official list of electors. I maintain that a contaminated list can vitiate the credibility of elections.
And the Private Sector Commission of Guyana has issued a call for the president and the opposition leader to meet at the earliest and choose a chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission. 3 of the Private Sector Commission's executive members are among the opposition leader's possible choices for the post of Elections Commission chairman. In a statement, the PSC said in view of the given political and constitutional circumstances, a chairman for the Elections Commission from the list submitted by the leader of the opposition should be chosen. The opposition leader has not yet formally submitted the nominees for the GCOM chair position, and the CCJ has advised that the president and the leader of the opposition meet to discuss the possible nominees so that when the list is submitted to the president, it will contain the names of 6 persons who are not unacceptable to the president. Turning now to the education sector, students from the hinterland communities who have to travel to Georgetown for their tertiary education will now be accommodated at a new tertiary dormitory for hinterland students. The facility is located at Liliendal on the east coast of Demerara and was constructed at the cost of $186 million as a project of the Indigenous Peoples Affairs Ministry. At the commissioning ceremony this morning, President David Granger said he was pleased with the move to have the facility built for the nation's hinterland students.
The establishment of this tertiary education dormitory attests to the government's commitment to improving educational opportunities for hinterland students. It reflects our intention, our determination to ensure a more equal society by reducing the disparities west of the Essequibo between hinterland and coastland communities. We want to create a more equal society. We want to ensure that hinterland residents can enjoy similar public services.
President Granger said the country is moving in the right direction when it comes to education. He noted that his government remains committed to the education sector and reminded that over the past 4 years, the government spent over $170 billion on the education sector alone.
Government, through the Ministry of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, has done well to make this facility available today. It will ensure a more conducive environment for hinterland students attending the University of Guyana and other tertiary institutions. I look forward to the day when every regional town, Anna Regina, Bartica, Lethem, Mabaruma, Madia, every town will establish a first-class college to enable hinterland students to enjoy the best secondary education and later tertiary education within their communities without having to leave their region to come here at Liliendal to have comfortable accommodation and access to tertiary education.
The dorm can accommodate up to 120 students and will cater for those attending the nearby University of Guyana, the Guyana School of Agriculture, the Government Technical Institute, and other tertiary education institutions in the city. Minister of Education Nicolette Henry said a new dorm will contribute in a large way to making Guyana a better place, adding that with the facility more opportunities will be afforded to hinterland students who want to study on the coastland. Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs and 4th Vice President, the Honorable Sidney Allicock, in his address, said the new facility comes under the Hinterland Education Support Program. The building was dedicated by the Right Reverend Charles Davidson, the Bishop of Guyana, who also offered prayers for the President as he celebrated his 74th birthday today. Some tragic news to report now. A smash-up on the Linden-Suzdijk Highway on Saturday night added 2 persons to the list of road fatality victims in Guyana. Dead are taxi driver Royston Stewart of Sandville, Kurukururu, and one of his passengers, Faye Williams of Waiakara, Linden Suslike Highway. A number of other persons remain hospitalized with serious injuries. The accident involved a 212 motor car that was driven by the taxi driver and a sport utility vehicle. The two were traveling in the opposite direction but somehow ended up in the same lane and slammed head-on into each other. An investigation is underway tonight. In the courts right now, following a guilty plea, a 63-year-old man, Gregory Ramkisoon, was this morning sentenced to 20 years in jail for the rape of a 4-year-old girl. Ramkisoon appeared before Justice Simone Morris Ramlal and confessed to the crime. The incident reportedly took place 3 years ago in the Demerara region. He threw himself at the mercy of the court as the trial was set to begin. After accepting the guilty plea, the judge handed down the 20-year jail sentence. He will only become eligible for parole after serving 15 years behind bars. The court was also told that he's currently serving jail time on an assault conviction against the same child that he raped. The convict offered no comments as he was ushered off from the court back to the jailhouse. Well, two brothers who were allegedly caught with over 4 pounds of compressed marijuana in a small boat earlier this month have both been remanded to jail. The brothers, Kevin and Kevon Thomas, appeared in court this morning and denied the charges made against them. The court was told that on the 9th of July, in the Haruru Mission in Berbice, the two were passengers in a speedboat when the boat was stopped by law enforcement and searched. The packages of marijuana were reportedly found under a seat in the boat where the brothers were seated. They were reportedly arrested and questioned before charges were filed against them. After listening to the initial facts of the case, the presiding magistrate remanded the brothers to jail until August, when the matter will continue. Across the Region is coming up next.
It's comedy with no apology. Mommy, baby, daddy, maybe.
Right.
What? No. If the child born ugly, my granddaughter, put it on him.
Put it on him. Me, you? Watch me when I say no. Watch, Joanna, and I show you something. Let your grandmother back up. You tell you how we settle this problem is.
Settle what? Like 2 years domestic abuse.
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
An all-star cast of singers, dancers, and comedians will rock the house. July 20th and 21st, the National Cultural Center will be in an uproar from 8 p.m. Tickets on sale now at Andrew's Supermarket, Nigel's, and the Cultural Center box office. Proudly presented by Godfrey Naughton in association with Mike James Drama Group. Mommy, baby, daddy, maybe.
Well, it's what y'all waiting for. Go and get your tickets.
New Amsterdam, get ready for the year-to-year ladies event. Heineken presents Motivated 4. Motivated 4. The Ultra Premium Heineken Party. Saturday, 27th July 2019 at Club Eclipse, Main Street, New Amsterdam. Enjoy Heineken bucket specials all night. The Heineken girls and giveaways. Store opens from 9 p.m. With vibes by Father Moon, DJ Von Hyde, Gully Russ and Diamond from Team Fusion, Team Lockdown, and DJ Slaughter from Jungling. Motivated 4. Saturday, 27th July at Club Eclipse. Powered by Heineken, Crunk Vibes, Tanisha Lifestyle, Westsiders Entertainment, 88.5 Rock FM, Little Rock Sweets, Candy Boss, and Rush Energy Drink.
Falls, a trademark of China's Zhanghao Incorporated, located at Land of Cane and East Bank, Demerara, was incorporated in April of 2013 with over $10 billion Guyana dollars invested in a state-of-the-art 100,000 barrel fuel storage facility, a modern service station, an office complex, and a modern wharf that can berth international vessels. Having no association with any other fuel company, Falls imports its own fuel, which meets quality specifications, has all the legal permits, and is in compliance with international requirements. Its bulk facility can load 8 trucks simultaneously at a rate of 1,000 liters per minute, while the service station can service 12 cars at a time using computerized fuel pumps, which can facilitate the use of ATM cards. Through its professional team of mostly Guyanese, Falls wholesales and retails fuels to the public, including farmers and miners, and will continue to positively contribute to Guyana by providing quality products, service, and attractive prices. Try Falls today for all your fuel needs.
Across the region right now, Barbados wants $44 million for its shares in the cash-strapped regional airline Liat. But the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Brown, says while his country is prepared to acquire further shares in the airline, it is unwilling to pay that asking price by Barbados. The two countries have been holding discussions on the acquisition of the shares. And last week, Mr. Brown told the Caribbean Media Corporation that the talks are ongoing. despite reports that the talks had broken down. He said Antigua and Barbuda is not in the process of giving away money, that his island is in the process of creating value and to get fair value for the people of Antigua and Barbuda. He said as far as he is concerned, he cannot begin discussions with Barbados at a price of $44 million for the shares in Liat. Antigua and Barbuda currently holds 34% of the shares in Liat. If it succeeds in convincing Barbados to part ways with its Liat shares, then Antigua will move up to owning 81% of the airline. Liat has over 600 persons in its employ and operates 491 flights weekly across its 15 destinations. Let's tell you now that the Venezuelan government and the opposition are resuming talks aimed at ending the political crisis in their country. Venezuelan Information Minister Jorge Rodriguez said today that he and the rest of the government's delegation have arrived in Barbados for negotiations, where several days of talks were also held last week. Rodriguez was flanked by representatives including Foreign Minister Jorge Ariza and Miranda State Governor Hector Rodriguez. Chief opposition negotiator Stalin Gonzalez earlier confirmed that his delegation was returning to Barbados for talks to be mediated by Norway. And finally tonight, international news. Anti-terrorism police in northern Italy have seized an air-to-air missile and other sophisticated weapons during raids on far-right extremist groups. 3 people were arrested, 2 of them near the Forlì airport. Neo-Nazi propaganda was also seized in the raids. The raids were part of an investigation into Italian far-right help for Russian-backed separatist forces in eastern Ukraine. The missile was one of those used by the Qatari army, Italian police said. The Turin Special Police Force called Digos led the operations, assisted by police in Milan, Varese, Forlì and Novara. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting.